You even see what you're looking at? This is at the equator, right? That's why the North Pole is the center. It's clear as day. It's the center of the stationary, flat on the top surface. It's got depth to it. Earth. And it's firm and above it. That clearly is the magnetic field of the Earth. And the stars are within that magnetic field. It shows perfect evidence of this. They're rotating clockwise and then counterclockwise. And then to the north, it looks like it's above you. That would be to the north. It would look like it's above you, you see? Even at the equator. And then to the south, like you're seeing that that's actually towards the, like what would be like the edge of the flat earth. It's just like to the side instead of directly above like the north is. If you're on a ball earth, they should both be like, you know, looking similar, whether it's one way or the other. The fact that this one looks like it's to the side, and that's why they call the north the Arctic, because it arcs around you. And then at the equator, it just goes straight, you know, across. And then at the south is Antarctic, because it doesn't arc around you anymore. It just kind of goes to the away to the edge of the Earth itself. That's crazy. It's kind of making me think that giant comet I showed y'all that began this whole thing, that planet that they haven't been able to label, that warped right through the sun. These are like a Stargate and moved in one frame and sped up time all at the same time. Probably triggered this, and this is probably where it orbited right at the center. And then all these stars are just like a manifestation of it. And everything else is according to that footage. The Earth was on the third day, and then the whole thing was like, it had like an echo, like it would come back after six days, not 6 months, which the day were the days in the first part, but it was 6 years for the actual comet to come back again. And then they came back again in 2020, and then we got the events in January and all that crazy shit. And Sri Lanka just did their thing. If that government didn't shoot them, that's the difference. And flip the whole story on. And set them up at the same time. But yeah, this one idiot, he didn't understand those magnetic fields, even though he supposedly believes in that kind of stuff. And Tesla, the smartest guy that pretty much was to ever walk the planet in this last century or two, or probably more. That, you know, besides me, I'm smart in my own way, but like as far as knowing this stuff, like he knows that shit like nobody else. But this guy was I'm not talking about Tesla, I'm talking about this guy that pretends to know Tesla. Not like personally, but like, you know, some of this stuff. He doesn't understand that's what's happening on the Earth, and the stars are in it. This magnetic field, the water's above and the water's below, and it causes gravity, which is really electromagnetic acceleration. It's the same thing with stuff on those old CRT TVs, how they would grab the lint and stuff like that. Yeah, the image will give you a more obvious one. Some of these have a better picture. I mean, comparatively. Here we go. See that? Clockwise, counterclockwise. Just that simple. It's not just that camera, man. Like, it's just the way it is. Like, that's reality. And the storms and the waters on the earth do the same thing. I'm gonna get y'all to understand it shouldn't be happening on a ball though. And a ball should literally like all be, especially the stars should be all rotating in the same direction. It's clockwise and counterclockwise thing for one position at the equator shouldn't be visible. It should take movement from the equator. It's the magnetic field causing it. Think about it. If you're on Earth and you're around that equator, right? Like in like for example this one, or even this one. See what I mean? You're there, right? You can use any of these. I don't want to limit your viewpoint. But as the Earth rotates and you're looking east, it doesn't matter how low or high you are on the Earth. You see it yet? The Earth is still supposed to be rotating that direction, right? And the time lapse should not be able to show any real difference to the north or the south. On this piece of shit globe, like, it shouldn't show any difference. It should be rotating east to west, period. Unless these things, even on a globe model, are in the firmament. They're in the ether. You know, like, that's been proven in the Aries experiment. That showed that the Earth doesn't move, the stars are moving above. And in the Mitchell-Morley experiment. That's why Tesla said that they need to stop doing these calculations and start doing experiments. And take their fucking biases out of the fucking equation. Truth is usually pretty simple. So you see it's like, you see how this rotation works? East is east, west is west. Where is this like up and down thing coming from? Besides the magnetic field. That's it. And I already showed you that it should be equals, but as you can see from that one footage, one was going way more to the side and lower towards the horizon compared to the other one. And that was the south, and that's what you would expect on the ball Earth because it's the edge. Meanwhile, the center was like way above the horizon from the equator, showing us a central point. And it's not like you would say walking off the edge. Like, you can't walk off that edge. You know, they got plateaus that go for fucking thousands of miles that are way higher than that shelf that you guys talk about. That's like, what, like 300-500 feet tall on average? And then the plateaus later on that go for thousands of miles that are thousands of feet high. Thousands of feet high. Like, good luck doing that on the ice, bro. Like, and then I've shown you the frozen firmament and all that. But in case y'all think this is just like the space, which is the least likely, the most impossible on the globe, it should only happen, if anything, because of momentum of the motion of the Earth. So that would mostly affect the water, not the actual fucking heavens themselves, like, that are not supposed to be in our atmosphere or firmament or Van Allen belt or whatever you want to call it.
I'll be draining anti-clockwise direction. Yes, my name's Hamilton Kalunji. Yes, sir.
This is at the...
brother. So right now we are doing what we call geographical water experiment caused by the Coriolis Effect. After pouring...
By the way, this is at the equator. Dude can literally just like walk, I'm assuming 10 meters from one side to the other, and the magnetic field does the rest. literally just flips it.
You have to stabilize it, make the water come down.
Okay.
Yeah,
After calm
otherwise
down the water, we drop this flour on top to see.
he does it because otherwise a lot of people say that this only happens because the direction he's pouring the water. But if he stabilizes it like he just did, it takes that factor out.
Stabilize it, make the water come down.
Okay.
After calm down the water, we drop this flour on top to see whether it's going anti-clockwise.
Yeah.
So the farther you move the equator, the faster it goes. The closer the equator, the slower. So let's go north and see what will happen.
What is he doing?
Magic!
He's a sorcerer.
You see how that's
Oh,
the
that's exactly
equator.
the equator.
The equator the last.
Ah, the last.
That's how far that's all they have to do. I don't even think that's 10 meters, bro. I think that's like 5.
Yes.
The Coriolis Effect has to change because it took clockwise.
What changes?
It's called
Maybe
Coriolis
7.
Effect, which is make the clockwise and anti-clockwise movement. And then they say your body weight on the latitude is less by 3%. You're lighter,
You're lighter in the northern hemisphere.
0 latitude. From which country?
Bulgaria.
Bulgaria.
And that's because that's where the whole energy center is. There's a lot more power there. Like hydrogen makes you lighter. That's what the sun's made out of. It's a reflection of Earth at the beginning of time itself. There it looks just like it. It's basically, you'd have to see the footage of Earth. Like it was just extremely bright, like as bright as I'd imagine the sun is, and that's why the moon is also like got all the continents on it in its own little parallel world type of way, and then the sun and the Earth and it do these eclipses and stuff, even when it's impossible for the sun. I mean, not the sun, but the Earth to be blocking it. Like the sun, the moon would be well above the Earth, and it would still eclipse.
Southeast Europe.
Wow.
Have you heard of Bulgaria?
Exactly. Get some Bulgarian people to come.
Matter than it just. There we go. I want y'all to understand what's
Which
going
is
on.
make the clockwise and anti-clockwise movement.
Yes.
And then they say your body weight on the latitude is less by 3%.
What changes?
It's called Coriolis Effect, which is make the clockwise and anti-clockwise movement. And then they say your body weight on the latitude is
Yeah, it's in lag.
You're lighter,
You're lighter in the northern hemisphere.
0 latitude. From
At
which
the
country?
equator.
Bulgaria.
Bulgaria.
Southeast Europe.
Zero, zero latitude is the equator.
Wow.
Have you heard of Bulgaria?
Exactly. Get some Bulgarian people to come and get
Ah,
some.
we're very curious.
So it's anti-clockwise north, south anti-clockwise, 0 does nothing. And you missed last month, you know, we have March 21st,
Yeah?
September 23rd, those 2 days call them equinox, that's equal day, equal night, that's when the sun rises and sets
At the equator.
Each day you have no shadow, you stand at 0 latitude, yeah. So let's do the last one we did, let's see.
That look very far to you? That's all the equator in my eye. So really, like, the entire equator is just this one little... No. Like, on a ball Earth, that's not how it works. But on a flat Earth, that's governed by electromagnetism, and, like, that kind of thing, not like this visual change that is impossible. Like on the ball Earth, like did you see how the stars change, and now how the water is doing this too, in that little bit of space? Like there'd be literally no difference from east to west. It's such minute differences on the Earth. That's the size that they say it is. You know, like I mean, clearly is around that size, but it's like, you know, that's more like the one side to the other. It's really big as far as how deep it is. I've already seen it in a near-death experience.
you put water there?
To do
So the effect.
so the effect how it was. North and south, okay.
And also, in that footage that NASA messed up and showed me, that I showed you just a little while ago, a couple of videos ago, where it's got to do with the beginning and all this planet I found and all this stuff.
And it crosses only 13 countries. 7 countries in Africa.
Remember I told you 2013 is when this all started with this, and then in 2007 was really the real beginning because it echoed back to it, and that was the beginning of this camera. It was like 2006 though, they're like the last little parts of 2006, and then 2007 there's 7 of them in the continent of the motherland. Pretty interesting. Got the numbers written all over.
Which country numbers? Then first we'll explain and then 2 afterwards.
Yeah.
0, now we need to see what happens with the
No
flower.
point? Or this is 0.
0, nothing. Didn't get swallowed. So the countries, Africa said have 7,
Yeah.
total number.
Yeah, explain that. Explain that. Doesn't even move left or right. Just sits perfectly still because it's stationary.
Countries are 13. Yeah. We've got Uganda, Kenya, Somalia, Gabon, Congo DRC, Congo Brazzaville,
Yeah.
Sao Tome.
The Congo, oh geez, isn't that the place where all those riches are and stuff that they've been exploiting them for? Is interesting. Who would have thought? Coriolis Effect is pretty much proof of the flat Earth, geostationary Earth. In case you ain't seen it, I'm just gonna cheese it up and show you. My cats have been doing real good against NASA and stuff, but I showed a whole bunch of their videos. It's like the beginning of time type of thing. They probably look at some of this stuff. And I get thumbs down for the Big Bang attack. Not very nice. They just gonna hate, man. You see how it's going left or right, kinda? Even this one has a little bit of a tilt because it's the beginning, but later on it's just straight left or right. You can still tell it's like a firm, and the other ones are like a wandering star type of thing. Even pushes the other one's gravity lens. Even pushes the other planet's gravity lens away. And that's just Venus and Mercury manifesting as well, like the closest to. But I think it really began with Venus. That's why Sky City gave me that bright morning star. Like they thought this was Venus or something like that, if I remember correct. I don't remember when Venus actually showed up on the camera on this B1. But then it turned into Earth like on the 3rd day. You see how the light, the beginning was light, and it's like, watch that. The beginning was light. See? It was darkness really, but then he said let there be light on that first day. And then the light made everything. You see how it's making everything? And it's got it on this 90-degree tilt. Just like the edge of the Earth, like the outer edges of it. Just what everything's being pulled by that I'm pretty sure it's got to do with that 3rd star I showed you. 3rd sun, actually. That was like on the outer edge of the Earth. It's the only place I've ever seen it. They got rid of a camera that was looking at it. This is actually Earth, by the way, right here. That's how awesome Earth is. And it creates this gravity lens right here. But this is like before time. That's the only reason you're able to see it. I'm pretty sure it's the second day too when it popped up. Yeah, it starts to pop up early. Because the Earth really is the light itself, man. I'll tell you. The third day of the second month, that's pretty fun. But really, let me show you this. I'm pretty sure it's actually in this one too. You'll see that it doesn't show up on the other camera. Yeah, this is the more further out one. It shows up for a split second though. But this is before time again. And the second day it starts to make heaven itself. It's that comet that did the whole thing, bro. I made this pretty long though. Hopefully I show that third day. You can see the comet on there from a whole nother angle. It's looking at, and then that's really the comet. You see, you shouldn't be able to see that kind of rotation unless it's really happening. It was all those stars, like they were like doing a whole nother orbit, and then they started this orbit around the Earth, which is really the source of all of it. But it's like, it's the sun. It's basically that light that began the whole thing, because it's the light of that world that is called Earth, and the light caused the Earth to manifest. It's all like intertwined. No, yeah, this one you get to see his planet and stuff. I had to mess with the audio so bad. Watch how this shit frames it, bro. Like, look at the hour. It'll go from 7 to 18. In one frame, bro. One frame, bro. I don't know what planet that is, bro. It's glitching so bad, bro. That's kind of proud of that, I guess. Yeah, this is when Earth popped up, and then you see how it changes her whole orbit. And then it creates this, like, I want you to see the timer first. Oh, I see it. In this one, I don't show you that actual timer. But watch how they're going downward, and then it grabs it in this field when it pops up. That's the Earth by there. And then all of them, when it pops up, start to orbit normally. That was the third month. Remember, the second month it started to orbit like that instead of upward. It started going back downward. It literally reversed time. There's some real gems in there, man. People actually, paid attention. They would actually learn stuff. And then that's this huge ass gravity lens. It's like, you see how it's going downward, and then watch when it's that planet X thing that crosses the X across. And boom, now it's all orbiting more normally. They're around the Earth and the sun and the moon. All three of them are the factor. That's why the moon has such strong effects on the Earth like it does. So does the sun. One's hot, one's cold. I'm guessing they're like lower and higher potentials of Earth or something. I have no idea. I guess that's why it's called the least, the moon. And then the sun is called the grow. Like, look at this angle that this thing's orbiting at. Like, that's the Milky Way. It usually just goes left to right like normal. So how the fuck is it getting that footage? Or why ain't NASA trying to claim this whole time? Like this Absolutely ridiculously damn stuff, but yeah. Coriolis Effect confirms what you're seeing right here. This orbit that's just like geocentric, and they changed from what it used to be before the world was. Yo, that reminds me of the part where Jesus is like, hey, give me the glory we had before the world was. No, like the circuit, the bridegroom, and they're talking about the sun when it does a circus above the earth. In scripture, a lot of stuff in scripture that confirms earth is stationary and all that kind of stuff. Probably learn it. Have a good day.